kindergarten, and welcome to another math lesson. We have been spending time using the words more than and less than. And last week, we talked about more than, and today we're going to focus on less than. We've been talking about how to organize our counting and comparing when we have groups of objects all scattered together. We're going to continue that work today. So here we go. Let's find out what our math thinking job is. I can count and compare sets of objects, telling which is less. So we're going to focus on the vocab less than. So I want you to look at my board and I want you to think, how can we quickly find out if there are more circles or squares? Think about what we can do to organize and compare groups. Your teacher's going to pause the video. So you might have talked about how we could organize our counting and compare when we have groups of things. We can make lines of things and we can count them. We can match them up to find out which had more. So last week we made rows. Today we're going to make columns. We're going to line them from top to bottom. So we want to find out if we have more circles or squares. So let's line up these circles and squares, because right now, I don't know about you, but I see all of these scattered shapes, and it's kind of hard to find out how many I have of each shape. Okay, so I have lined up my circles and my squares from top to bottom. We're going to look at them like we look at our towers. Remember, if we put our towers into columns from top to bottom, we can still count the same way as rows. So let's try. Your teacher's going to pause the video and I want you to count the circles and count the squares. All right, remember, there's different ways that I could do a counting path. Help me remember my counting. I'm going to number the circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm going to write the number 6 up here to let me know I have 6 circles. I'm going to do the same thing with the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to write the number 5 up here. Now that we've used our way of lining up our circles and our squares to help us count, use our counting path of numbering the circles and the squares, what else could I do to see if I have more circles or squares? What's another strategy we could use? Yeah, we could draw lines from a shape to another shape. Right now, I can see that the square line is kind of the same as the circles. That doesn't mean that that's the same number. Let's draw lines to see if each circle has a square to match. Now that we drew the lines to match the circle with the square, what do you notice? Yeah, just because the squares are a little bit bigger doesn't mean that there's more squares. I can see that there's one circle that doesn't have a match to the square. And that means that we have more circles than squares. So if we want to say that in our sentence using our words less than, what would our first number be? 5. We have less squares than circles. 5 is less than 6. 5 is less than 6. Let's look at these hexagons and triangles. I'm going to draw my lines first before you go off and count them and decide which one is less. Your teacher's going to pause the video. You're going to count the hexagons, you're going to count the triangles, and then decide how we can complete our less than sentence. This time when I'm going to use the counting path strategy of just putting a dot in my shape while I count. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 hexagons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 triangles. I have 4 hexagons and 6 triangles. I also can see that when my hexagons stop with pairing up the triangles, I have 2 more. We want to find out which one's less than. So how would we complete this sentence? We can see that 4 is less than 6. 4 is less than 6. Let's take a look at the rectangles and circles. Your teacher's going to pause the video. You're going to count these rectangles, count these circles, and decide which one is less than. How will we complete this sentence? Okay, let's count the rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And notice I'm making these marks in the rectangle. That helps me know that I counted. 8 rectangles. Let's see how many circles we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How did we complete this sentence? Blank is less than blank. 6 is less than 8. We know this as 8 is a bigger number. We also notice that these lines may look the same. So let's draw our matches just to double check that 6 is less than 8. I have 2 rectangles left over, which means there's less circles than rectangles. We can complete our sentence, 6 is less than 8. Take a look at my pictures of a woman reading a book and this pig carrying mail. Your teacher's going to pause the video. You're going to count the woman, count the pigs, and then we're going to complete this sentence. Notice how I've arranged my object in rows. So we're going to count left to right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 of the woman reading the book. See how many pigs we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which number is more? 8. We want to complete the sentence blank is less than blank. 7 is less than 8. We have less pigs than women. Let's take a look at my rulers and pencil. Your teacher's going to pause the video. You're going to count the rulers, count the pencils, and then fill in the sentence blank is less than blank. All right. Let's count the rulers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 rulers. Let's see how many pencils we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which number is more, 8 or 10? Well, if we draw our lines to match our objects up, another way to help compare, we can see that there are more pencils. That means 8 is less than 10. All right, we have one more. Glue bottles and tape. your teacher's going to pause the video. You're going to count the glue bottles, count the tape, and fill in the sentence, blank is less than blank. Let's count the glue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 7 glue bottles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I know that I have 9 tape dispensers and 7 glue bottles, but I say the tape is longer. Let me use my last strategy of making sure each object has a pair to double check which one is less and which one is more. We need to fill in that sentence, blank is less than blank. Ooh, I noticed that I have 2 tape dispensers that do not have a glue bottle. That means I have more tape dispensers. I want to fill in the sentence, blank is less than blank. That means 7 is less than 9. We have less glue bottles than tape dispensers. 7 is the smaller number. Today in Seesaw, you're going to continue this work by counting objects, writing the number, and filling in the blank. Blank is less than blank. Until next time, bye, Kipsters.